Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks since we've had a Chewing the Fat call. We've been up and about and out and about doing lots of different things. A lot of you would have seen, we were up in Darwin last week. Bit of a getaway to work on how Simpler Health is coming about and what we're doing there, and also to engage in working on some health outcomes for the Indigenous population. Made a couple of good contacts there, which we're chasing up now. So thanks for being patient. We're back. I've got Dean Kilby with me again. How you going, Dean?
Hey, it's good to be back. It feels like forever. It feels more like a month or something I've been gone.
I'm just glad we're in a different screen, so we're not copping comments about, broke back.
You had to put that bloody photo up on Facebook.
I'm surprised there was no broke back dams or, anything.
Why'd you have to put that one up?
You took it, not me.
You snuck up behind me. I was expecting a croc and I got a Trev.
It was a security pick, just in case something happens to me. This is who did it.
Oh man, it was good to get away though.
Yeah, it was. We got to creating some great stuff around the protocol and what we're doing as a coaching system and all that sort of thing. So let's talk about some of that. We've been getting a lot of great outcomes of people losing, 30 and 40 kilos. And there's been more than a couple of those, which we've been posting about and stuff as well. And then there's some stuff we're bumping up against also with other clients. Let's talk about what it's taking for those people to get the results from that 30, 40 kilo down, or however much it is they need to lose, versus not getting those results. What are you seeing around that?
I'm tired. Screw them. What about me? I think that's an important point though, because it is a relationship between the coach and the coachee.
Mm.
So those that it was great to spend the time with you and just reflect on the journey for people and what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong, what can we improve, what's redundant, let's take that out of existence, what do we need to add in. And it was good to get your view on it as well, because there were a number of things that I was doing with a lot of people in the earlier days that maybe I wasn't 100% at the source of, and then working with you and transferring the coaching accountability, at least for the number of clients that you're managing, you're adding your flavor and your self-expression onto your coaching as well. Which is great for me, because then I get to learn from someone else, it's not just unidirectional, me transferring to you. So it was great to spend that time with you and kind of get your take on it. But I think what does make a really big difference is it's our responsibility as the coach to train and develop the coachee, but we've got to train and develop the coachee in such a way that we too enjoy working with them. That they act and be a way that empowers us as the coach. So then they get the best of us, we get the best of them, and then together it's like this magic happens. It wasn't that long ago. I just posted about Mark Gell.
Yeah,
he's phenomenal, right?
Different person. They don't even look like the same guy.
I know, and he's a big deal in the business world, and he's gone through hell and back. He's had some physical injuries that have just been horrific. I can't remember the details, but I think he flew a glider into the side of a cliff or something and smashed up all these, bones in his body, and he's been recovering from that. And he's an avid surfer, but he hasn't been able to get on the surfboard because he's too damn heavy, right? So he went vegan about a year ago or something, and then, felt better health-wise, but still couldn't shift the weight. And this is I guess, some of the secret sauce that we bring with the science, the biological medical science side of things, when you can drop anyone in front of me and I'll sort their health and weight out, but it's not like he's short of $1. And, he knows a lot of people, a lot of well-to-do people. No one's been able to help him shift that weight. And then he thinks I'm a magician because we start working together and the weight's fallen off him really fast. But that's not an easy thing, because it wasn't that long ago I did not take on vegans as clients because the kind of protocol I need people to be on, it's too restrictive.
Right.
But we've been able to work it out, and there's such great products available now off the shelves online, etc. So long as people are educated to better understand the science and how to utilize them, then we can get those kind of outcomes. And he's done phenomenally well. And I've asked him to come on board and work with us as one of our lifestyle advisors, particularly in the area of leadership. And in fact, he's writing a book about leadership at the moment. He's authoring that. So, and business in particular, he's the chairman of Scale Australia and founder of Reputation Edge. So I think he was one of the key advisors to some politician here in New South Wales at some point, but knows a lot of people. So I love the opportunity to work with, big people who have these big lives, or another way to say it's fat people with fat lives, PHAT. So that's my attempt to be cool. I suck. But anyway, it's, and it's great to, you make that difference to people. And now, we'll transition him through to phase 4. And then it's very distinct. In the early stages, it's literally, you've got to give up all your notions about what you think what you think is best, and you just got to do it the way it's designed. It's kind of like, here's the plan, here's the protocol, sort your life out around this. Why? Because your life is on the line. And it really is for people, and they don't realize that. And I'll share more about that in a moment. But phase 4 is more about, what can you get up to? Let's increase your energy expenditure, your performance, and then we work out your nutrition to best fuel that. So it's almost like the context is flipped in phase 4. So these clients that are losing all of that, I think the ones that really succeed, there's a lot to be said about how they manage their relationship to us as coaches. Because it makes an enormous difference. It gets tiring, dealing with the same complaints from people all the time.
But the difference that if you just put it as basically as possible, the only difference I see with the people that lose weight and get it done and look like that guy does, just like a completely new person, and is now up to great things, and the people that stop or quit or the only difference is, and this is what I said initially when people started contacting me and saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? I just do whatever Dean tells me. It's as simple as that. That's all you got to do. Everything else doesn't matter. I'm too busy. Whatever the thing is, or I didn't. Whatever the reasons that come up is, at the end of the day, the people that are getting it done are the ones that just do what you say. That's it.
Yeah.
Really not much more complicated than that.
No. There's always reasons. There's always explanations, excuses, justifications for why not do something the way it's designed. There's always, and I think this is the biggest trap for people, is that they think it's a diet. It's really a training and development opportunity, because there are ways of being, ways of seeing the world, ways of acting. We call these lifestyle type behaviors, and that's what needs to change, right? So lifestyle changes, but really it's the way in which you see things and the way in which you act. And how you see things and how you act, they're correlated. They're in a dance with each other. So if you take it on like it's just a diet and just want to lose some kilos, but you don't want to transform your life, then it's not going to be sustainable. You'll always have to manage the underlying threat of it coming back again. And that can be really worrisome for people. There's no freedom in that. Yeah. Really, by the time you get the job done, you want to be totally free. to live your life and enjoy indulgences every now and again. And why not? That's what life is about. I mean, we have all these great foods and different cultures and, desserts and, all of that. You want to be able to enjoy all of that and experience it without the worry and the threat and the panic and there's enough significance and threat and panic already in the world. We don't need to add to it. You want to free yourself up from that.
Yeah.
So understanding the basics, the fundamentals of what got you into trouble in the first place is a key aspect of the journey. And that's what you really want to be at work on and digging deep on. How do you see food? How has it had a grip on you? How have your behaviors, even the way people start to quit. I mean, it takes nothing to quit. Quitting's easy. It's like, but people invest in trying to get all the reasons and justifications for why quit. If you just took that energy and put it into doing things the way it's designed, you'd get the bloody result. Yeah. And the only thing that you need to do is not quit. You'll get the result.
I read something the other day that said, as human beings, all we really end up doing is stuff we can't justify not doing.
Yes.
You can't reason and justify your way out of it. You'll end up doing it. That's about it. And that's just like, that's just the complete opposite of how life, the opportunity of life, really. It's about just going to freely do stuff that you choose to do, not, I can't justify not doing that, so now I've got to do that,
Yes. I was talking to a couple of clients today, actually, and one of them brought up, she kind of lost her way a bit, and it's really great. I mean, the amount of courage it takes for people to kind of get over their BS and then just call me and get back on the horse, let me dust them off, and off we go again. I mean, I really acknowledge and admire that. But what she said was she'd lost her focus of why she started it in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. Which I get that, and that's, you need that to get started. But once you started, that can't be it. That would be like marrying someone because they're beautiful. Like, things change, right? And when things change, that can't be a reason now to quit on that commitment.
I mean, and look, with Lan, the beauty soon wore off. She's stuck with me now the way I am. The beauty doesn't last forever. It went downhill real quick for Lan.
Yeah, but you became a powerful guy.
Yeah.
Right? You got sexier with that. Now we are starting to sound weird.
So powerful, she left me.
I know. So everyone, I just found out Trevor's wife has moved to Newcastle?
Maitland, yeah.
Maitland, to be with your son, to help with his business for a couple of months. So I said to Trevor, who's going to cook for you now, dude? You can't be heating up 2-minute noodles every night.
No. So anyone that's up for some great single man, divorcee type recipes that you've been left holding the bag, hit me up in about a week. I should have some stuff for you.
Anyone feel sorry enough for poor Trevor, feel free to cook food and deliver it to his house. Free coaching opportunities. All you got to do is cook great food.
I've been doing it long enough for people around me, so it's about time to get some, who wants to cook?
Yeah. It's transactional. Let's bring it all back home now.
Let's bring it all back home. I wasn't even the one doing it, but I got the credit for it, so that's what.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
man. Good. Yeah. So I was sharing with a couple of clients about this, and people talk about it all the time, particularly in business. And you got to find your why, and you need a why that's big enough. And it's like, why? Once you get started, what happened to doing it because you said you would? Because at the end of the day, you don't have any control over your circumstances. Shit happens in life. Life is always happening. You have no control over that. And you have no control over even how the stuff that happens internally, your thoughts and your feelings, it's out of your control.
Yeah.
I mean, It's so out of your control. What is it like for you when you're upset and someone says, don't be upset? Like you can just stop. Oh, I didn't think of that. Let me just stop being upset. You just want to kick him in the teeth.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't control what goes on internally. And then the results are the results. I mean, they're what we call performance outcomes. And you don't have a direct say over performance outcomes either. It's like standing on the scales going, come on, be a different number. Or staring at your bank account going, come on, move. No, those numbers are there, performance outcomes, as a result of whatever performance you took, action or inaction. And your actions can be a function of your word rather than your psychology. You know, if you feel a certain way, or if you think a certain thought of any kind of internal state, you know, oh, my muscles are a bit fatigued, so I can't do X, Y, or Z. Or I've got a headache, I can't do X, Y, I can't even have sex because I got a headache. Sex is the best damn thing for it, right? So your performance, one really could discover for themselves that their performance is not necessarily given by their internal state. It could be purely and solely a function of your word. And I got some coaching years ago. I was feeling a bit, you know, I used to lead, you know, as you did as well, these programs, transformational seminars, be up on stage for 3 hours at a time, transforming people's lives, etc. And I was in a bit of a low point where I was considering maybe it's not the thing for me. This is in the early stage of that career. And one of my coaches, he said to me, why are you doing all of this? And I had this highfalutin kind of grandiose answer, you know, vomit worthy, save the world, kind of want to make a difference in the world. And anyway, he laughed and he said, you know, I've been doing this for more than 25 years. And as far as I can tell, the world's a worse place now than it was when I started. And I said to him, well, why do it then? And he goes, no reason. Just because I said I would. Wow. That's, you really could live life that unreasonably, like unreasonable existence without reasons, for no reason. You do something because you said you would. Now, if you are someone who can honor your word like that, then you don't have to come up with strategies and techniques and all these ways of managing yourself around trying to survive some diet. You just do it because you said you would. And then what gets developed over time is the strength and power of your word. If that doesn't get strengthened over time, then when you're out of my coaching structure and you're left to your own devices, you're just going to get swept back into some state of existence that's ruled by your internal state that you have no control over.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's so, I mean, that's a good segue into just brushing up on what we actually do as a coaching enterprise that isn't just, as you said, about here's a sheet of paper, eat that, don't eat that, send me your measurements every week.
Don't eat the sheet of paper.
Don't eat the sheet of paper. Unless it's organic and...
Yeah, I mean, there are some fundamental promises that, you know, you make when you enter into this kind of a structure. I mean, you act true to your word. So it was really pretty straightforward coaching you. You know, it was, Trevor, I want you to do this, but you don't get to have an opinion about any of it. You just literally have to do what I say. And you just went, sure. You know, and you did. So the promises is you got to eat what you're told to eat, right? And what there is to eat is scientifically designed. There's a reason for every element of it. If there wasn't a scientific rationale behind every little bit, then it wouldn't be in that protocol.
Yeah.
Right. So it's scientifically sound, it's clinically validated, it produces the results. We know that people who do this, a good 85 to 90% of people can complete it, no issues. They sustain that weight loss. 69.2% in clinical studies have been demonstrated to sustain that weight loss 3 years post weight loss. That's unheard of. Most studies have demonstrated a less than 10% sustainability at 2 years.
Wow.
So exactly, right? So this is such a unique approach that when I sat down with Australia's leading preventative cardiologist and I showed him the data and talked him through why it's so damn effective, he said, it's brilliant. He goes, this is unheard of. Dean, it's you're lucky if you get 5% retention on that loss 2 years out. So even 12 months out, people just put the weight back on. So there's something that happens during the protocol when you eat what you promise to eat and don't eat what you promise not to eat. So you've got to remember, performance is action and inaction. So there's certain things you've got to stop doing. And what happens with this approach is your hormones rebalance in a way that allows you to sustain the result long term, right? But people also need to promise to write things down, right? And it's new kind of actions, and it's clunky and it's uncomfortable. And I've been getting martial arts lessons from Grandmaster Glenn Coxon. He's Grandmaster of Bushidokai, which is a combination of various martial arts and boxing and kickboxing, etc. And this guy's a phenomenon. But when he's training me, I got to tell you, as a 43-year-old man, I haven't done any of this stuff since I was a kid. It's uncomfortable as all heck. I feel so unbalanced, uncoordinated. It's embarrassing. I can't remember the combinations that he's calling out. It was hilarious. I went from my first grading, right? So I've gone from white belt to yellow belt now. Yay, right? Even that was a little bit embarrassing. I'm like, oh God, I went for a yellow belt, right? But anyway, there was this point where he was calling out combinations to me. And I'm trying to listen to what he's saying. He's saying it so damn fast. And I'm concerned about screwing it up. And I don't want to mess it up. And I don't, because I'm being assessed and, and I'm doubting myself. And I got stuck in my head. And it was just a moment's hesitation, but he took a step towards me. He got in my face and he said, you just copped 3 blows to the head. You're on the ground unconscious. And it's going to sound stupid. It was in that moment that I realized this is self-defense training. Like all of a sudden it got real.
Yeah.
Up until that point, there was like the romance of doing a martial arts, and it looks good to be trained by someone of his level, and it was a bit of a discipline structure, an accountability structure, and a bit of weekly exercise. But it was in that moment, then all this stuff started to have a real serious context to it. And it got me thinking about the people that we work with. It's not just about losing 5 or 10 kilograms, or even discovering that you can, which is all important, but their liver is on the line. 1 in 3 adults is at risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. There's no drug therapy to treat that. Heart disease is still the leading killer of Australians. There's actually a spike. People want to just throw their hands up in the air and not be responsible during the silly season. This is where you need the structure to support you, because there's actually a spike. If you look at the statistics, there's a spike of heart attacks that happen on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, well.
The stress and the pressure of this time of the year, it really takes its toll on people. And it's not just the physiological decline that we experience because of our diet. There's the mental health associated with it as well. So at the very least, what you can have a say in life is who you be and what you stick in your mouth. So the power of your health, it resides in your mouth, what goes in and also what comes out. What do you say? Are you using the language of a champion who makes promises and declarations and, you know, they act true to their word? Or are you some loser in the stands, an observer of life who's just giving an opinion whenever you feel like it, complaining, just, you know, just garbage coming out of your mouth all the time? Does it contribute to anything worthwhile? No. And people have to wake up to that. So, you know, the kind of training that I was getting in martial arts, it's uncomfortable, and we're asking people to do something that's a pain in the backside, and it's uncomfortable. Writing down what you eat. Why? Because I don't bloody well trust you to do it the way that you say you're doing it. You know, I want to see it written down. And even the act of writing something down has a profound impact. You're 2 to 3 times more likely to succeed if you journal every day, right? And then if you send it to me every day, which is what you did, not everyone does, not everyone has to, but it's powerful when they do. You complete the day, you send it to me. You're not dragging yesterday's indiscretions into today, into tomorrow, etc. It's done. Every day is a new day. So you really can take it one day at a time. And then you promise to share with people what you're doing, because you don't exist in a vacuum. You know, you've got influences around you all the time. One of the reasons why people fail is they try to have a private transformation on their own. At some point in the future, you'll jump out and go, ta-da, don't I look fabulous?
Yeah.
And everyone will go, wow, you know, and you'll think that everyone will go, what did you do? And then you'll look amazing because you'll have all the knowledge and the wisdom and they're coming to you. That's just such a low level of being in life. You know, keep that stuff to Instagram. What you want is to authentically share with people what you're doing and why you're doing it. And you create an environment that supports you to get the result done. Now, where people fall down is they have this fundamental concern for looking good and avoiding looking bad. They don't want to be judged by their friends. That, oh, what will my friends think of me if we go out to a restaurant and I'm not free to order the dessert and they want to have the dessert? It's like, listen, you've been addicted to sugar your whole damn life and it's killing you. It doesn't take much to share with your friends, hey, I'm making a stand for my health. I'd appreciate your support during this period of time.
I had one of the guys I'm coaching spoke with today, actually, and every week or every day or something, they have these morning meetings where they turn up with cake and biscuits and, you know, donuts and things like that for this morning meeting. And today they brought in kale chips for him.
Oh, wow.
Homemade kale chips for him.
That's powerful, man.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly
powerful.
right.
And then you got an environment that, out of your standing for something extraordinary, is now aligned with your vision and what you want. That's amazing. So you need to do that, and you need to be coachable as well. So you promise to be coachable. And what that means is not just compliant, and I don't care if people go toe to toe with me. I like that. That's kind of where you learn. You know, I got some coaching recently about, you know, because we all need a coach, and I need a coach too. And I got some coaching from my coach. I said, how do you deal with these? He goes, what? Just say it, Dean. Say it how it's just right there. Don't censor yourself. I said, these recalcitrant assholes that are there just to make my life fucking miserable. Right? And he said to me, he goes, Dean, if you can't learn to love the assholes, then you're in the wrong game.
Yeah.
And he said, that's where you get to grow. And they'll turn out to be your biggest advocates, you know, so long as you wrap your arms around them, at least they're expressing that stuff, you know, versus just, there's this culture here in Australia where people have these silent complaints. You just walk. People just go out of communication. They just disappear. It's just such a, you know, it's no one's fault, but it is a very kind of low way of being in life and dealing with your relationships, is just run away, don't communicate at all. You know, I'd rather people kind of go toe to toe with me. It kind of makes it exciting, so long as they don't dominate me with a threat to quit. Well, if you don't, you know, comply with my say now, then I'm out of here. Well, take your bat and ball and go home and die of a heart attack in 4 years. We're standing for something. It's not significant, but it's serious.
Yeah.
So, and then people, you promise to complete the journey with integrity. So what does all of that take? First, it takes a profound relationship to your word if you're going to make those promises, because people have made promises to themselves in the past and they haven't followed through. That's why they contact us.
Yeah.
So I think there's got to be that fundamental, I don't know, shift in how one relates to their word. And as I said, the power resides in your mouth. It's what goes in, but also what comes out. And it's got to start with what comes out. You make that declaration, that you draw the line in the sand and you say, this is it. And what was brilliant is, hang on one second, there's a light that's flickering. Can you just pause it for a sec, Trev? So what was brilliant when I was going through my martial arts grading was Glenn folded up the white belt, tied it in a knot, and ceremoniously handed it to me. And he said, this came with effort and sweat, but it's never to be worn again. Which is powerful when you just lock something off like that. If you lose 10 kilograms and you've got a powerful relationship to your word, you can declare that complete. You get down to 90 kilograms, you can, as a matter of your word, never again in the kingdom will I ever go above 90 kilograms. And then you lose the next 10 kilograms, never again in the kingdom will I go above 80. And you lock it off. It's like done. And that's like you're shedding that past. So the kind of work and the coaching that we do, I think it's unique in that, yes, we can bring all the scientific sort of distinctions that make the fundamental difference in just sorting this skin bag out. But what also needs to transform is not just the adaptations that come with the calorie restriction and the ketone adaptation, and your liver and your kidneys improve the efficacy with which they utilize amino acids and convert them into a fuel as well. All these adaptations, your gut microbiome changes, your brain rewires, but who you be as a human being needs to transform as well.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that along the way that there's a new kind of human being there that's now able to sustainably look after that body long term. I don't know anywhere else that offers that kind of approach.
Well, even the personal investment. I mean, I know, when people do fall off and either, pull the pin or they go out of communication or whatever, we're always on the phone saying, this is what happened. Why? What do you reckon? Like, how can we improve or alter something that can deal with people in these situations versus just they quit, see you later. We just got to bring in 5 new people to replace them.
Yeah. And yeah, absolutely. And people get stuck all the time. Like sometimes they can't see, like there's people just are out. Like, you don't get to put me on pause. Life doesn't get put on pause. I don't, it's disrespectful, right? And it lacks honor when you put something that you've given your word to on pause, thinking you just pick it up later and there's no impact on the coaching relationship. Of course there's an impact. That would be like, oh, you know what? I'm finding it tough. I'm just going to put my marriage on pause for a couple of months just to get through the silly season. And I'll pick my partner up again in a couple of months and we'll resume our commitment to each other then.
That sounds silly, but people do that too. Not
I know.
usually put it on pause like that, but
that's yeah. And this is why there's got to be a growing up. Even when people have transformed their life and gotten their life out of the work that we do with them, it's kind of like old habits creep in. It's like, oh yeah, I've got what I wanted and, I'll do it my way now. And this, man, you haven't completed the journey. You have no idea what's to come yet, and not just what there is to deal with, but also the opportunity, because we've got clients that are seeing it all the way through. And oh my God, it's like, I love it. I love those that, in phase 4 in particular, they engage the personal performance coaching side of things. And it's like very few of our conversations are actually about their health and their diet.
Yeah.
It's like that just gets handled when you're up to something bigger and empowered to fulfill on these visions that you otherwise would never have fulfilled on. You're supported to do that. I mean, that's juicy, man. It's so damn exciting. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But what was great was to go away and really discuss with you, like, what have I been missing? What do you see in your experience? And, you threw some really great stuff at me that needed to be dealt with right at the very beginning, that maybe I was stepping over, or I thought I'd dealt with, but I hadn't. And really being clear with people that there's no two ways about this. Like, this isn't here's a basic structure, and then you can modify it to a point where it's comfortable for you. Like, yeah, no, it's obesity is a disease of convenience and comfort. So to correct that, it's not easy, but people are bigger in being as a human being than they give themselves credit for. And they're more than capable of doing it. It's just a matter of, the two most fundamental cornerstone performance aspects are writing down what you eat and calling your coach every week. If you just did those two things, everything else would work out.
Yeah. And what you were saying then about what they get up to in life and things as a result of, up until then, for a lot of people, the excess weight is the reason for not getting up to more stuff. It's like, I'd love to do this and I'd love to do that. And if I could, I'd go do this and, I'd go make a difference in this area, or I'd set up these groups or whatever. But, I've got a weight issue. Once I get that sorted, it'll be good. Once you get that weight issue sorted, now there's nothing in your way now except what's in your head. So the opportunity of the phase 4 and the performance coaching side of it is to then like you said, you can go lose weight at whatever rate on any diet and restrict calories, and you'll end up getting there. But then you're left to your own devices, which is, what the doctor said, 5 to 10% or whatever within a year are back, because you're left to your own devices. Your own devices are what got you there in the first place. So with the phase 4 and the performance coaching side of things, it's now, okay, you've gotten to that. Now all the reasons are out of the way why you can't do these things. Now what's it going to take for you to fulfill on those things? And let's get that done.
Yeah. Yeah. And also creating an environment that supports you to be who you say you are. I mean, an environment that stands for it. I mean, wouldn't it be weird? Imagine if people saw me, like if you just saw me standing there out on a corner one day smoking a cigarette. Wouldn't that just be freaking, what the heck's going on here? Imagine if you saw me drunk, smoking a cigarette with a bottle in a brown paper. You'd come up and sort me. You'd be like slapping me about. What are you doing? This isn't you.
Yeah.
What's happened? You do something about it. So you want an environment that really pulls for you to be the best version of you. And we want people to be the best version of them for their loved ones, for their kids, for their family, for their future. That's all we stand for. And, I think it was awesome being able to go away. And, I've had this kind of vision around impacting, how can we use the opportunity of what we're doing with Simpler Health and making a difference to people, and where else can we contribute? And I always had this vision of impacting Indigenous health outcomes. And, it was great to go away, and, you were a big part in that. You're like, yeah, let's just go. Let's just do it. Let's check it out. Let's experience it and speak to some politicians up there in Northern Territory and Darwin and stuff. And I don't know, I wouldn't have done that if you didn't kind of stick your foot in my back and
I'm great
overcome my fear of crocodiles.
I'm great at telling other people to do stuff. It's awesome.
Oh man, that was That was brilliant. But what's awesome is the kind of conversations that we had there in Darwin has led us back to people here in Sydney that we can work with on the ground.
Mm.
One guy in particular, Jeffrey Morgan, and he does some amazing things in impacting health and mental health amongst the Indigenous population, and he's a real stand for that. And it's just a phenomenal guy. Listening to him talk just moves me to tears, and he was moved to tears, like, oh my God, I'd love to have, the opportunity to work with you and your team. And so, I'm looking forward to kind of expanding that and seeing what we can do. And I don't think it'll take much to impact some of the Indigenous leaders in understanding some fundamentals that we've learned along the way around health, to impact their lives. And then they'll know, hopefully what's appropriate, how can they appropriately use that, for the bigger picture. I don't see how I can impact the bigger picture other than through that route at the moment, but, one person at a time.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Might leave it there, eh?
Yeah, just to let everyone know, I've got David Boyle, strength and conditioning coach.
He's going to be
so interviewing him on Friday. David Boyle's an ex-professional rugby player. He's been a strength and conditioning coach for a number of professional football teams. He's a senior lecturer at the Australian College of Physical Education and a key trainer at New South Wales Institute of Sport. He's also the head coach officiating for the NRL, and he looks after the referees. He's their head coach trainer. So he's also our consulting strength and conditioning coach to Simpler Health. So it's a big deal. Awesome guy. Looking forward to having a body like his when I'm 61 or however old he is. Yeah, I always feel a bit inadequate when I'm around him.
Machine.
I know. I always feel like I should do more push-ups. So
you should always do more push-ups.
Anyway. Yeah, so that'll be fun.
That's going to be good.
Good to be back on here with you, mate.
I'll be I'll be talking with someone else that's been on protocol and come out the other side as well later this afternoon. So I'll get that up in the next week or so as well. That's a great story too. So looking forward to both of them. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you again shortly on Chewing the Fat. Thanks, Ben.
Right.